Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out today on Tuesday. Still pretty good sales going. I'm going to do a recap for January after January is done. But yeah, it's been a crazy month. All right, first thing right here is going to be Warhammer 40K. This is going to be one of those painted miniature characters. It's the one with the bow and the 2 hounds right over here. The character's name was Judicator. There you go, Knight Judicator. It was like a specific character. This ended up going for $69.99 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping. I think this one sold for a lot more. One, it's Warhammer 40K stuff, just sells pretty well. Like, people like playing the game still to this day. There's a bunch of additions. And then this one was professionally painted by my buddy. All right, next up is going to be a lot of these tokens. Kirkholm, 1605 board game. I don't know if I said that particular board game correctly, but these are going to be some war game where you use these little chit tokens. There's different like infantry, cavalry in here. So these are just like extra tokens for the game. No rules, no box, just these. But people will need replacement pieces. Sometimes people like to make like extra scenarios and have like, do big battles and wars, and maybe they'll make their own stuff. But yeah, this ended up going for $10.50 to a repeat buyer. All right, moving along, we have Dust Warfare. We've sold this particular, I think I've sold this like core rulebook right here a lot of times. It's by Fantasy Flight game. I think this is supposed to be like a futuristic, it's fiction for like World War like 3 or 4 or something like that. So you play you get a bunch of miniatures, you paint them up, kind of like the Warhammer stuff, and then you battle across different terrain. This is going to be a core rule book. It's the hardcover. That's it. I've never gotten the miniatures yet. I've gotten like the book. I've gotten like the accessories, but I know people like it. I think it's a little bit more of a hipster game at this point. I don't know if they still make stuff. So $9.45 for the core rulebook. All right, moving along. I have them already packed up. So, well, kind of packed up. I just put like these little basket baggies around stuff that are too big for my classic baggies, because like the width is too long. But these are going to be 2 boards for Doomtown Reloaded. This is going to be, it was a remake of the Doomtown, or I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm drawing a blank, but I've sold like the cards before, the collectible card game where it's the Western world. You're playing poker hands, but like you get to use abilities and stuff to cheat your poker hands. So this was like the board game. They were trying to make a living card game with it, with Fantasy Flight Games, meaning you would buy the base game, you would get all the cards you needed. There was no rarities, there was no booster packs. And then they would have these cycles, like you've seen me sell for the Netrunner and the Legend of the Five Rings. We've done that as well. They also have Lord of the Rings, living card game, Game of Thrones. I sold some of the Game of Thrones ones recently. I got there eventually. But yeah, you buy these cycles where it's every 3 months you buy like a little pack and extra cards, and you're supposed to be, dueling someone in like a wild, wild west town. And these are the boards that represent it. So these end up going for $13.99. All right, moving along, we have Dystopian Wars, another core rulebook. Selling a lot of rulebooks and miniature stuff today. But yeah, I've sold this particular rulebook only as well, kind of like the Dust one, but I haven't really gotten the miniatures. There's like some kind of like futuristic blimp, so this is gonna be more of a steampunk miniature game. But yeah, I don't know too much about it because I've only ever gotten like the rulebook or accessories. This ended up going for $9.07. All right, moving along, something different than normal. I got, I didn't put them here, did I? Oh, I put them over there. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. I got a bunch of these Jet Li Hero movie posters. These are Japanese ones, I believe. So someone bought 3 of them. I think it was for like $21 plus some change. So there's this one right there. And then this one right here. I think I only have 1 left of these. I got like 30 of these at some points. They sold for various prices. So there's another one as well. People like to collect movie ephemera. That's also like a good category. People like posters as well as it's like the movie category. So if someone likes the movie, it hits different collectors. But yeah, like I said, it was like about $22 with some change, or 21 and some change. All right, next up is going to be Tomb Raider. Is this going to be oh yeah, this is going to be Tomb Raider Lara Croft. This is going to be the motion picture music CD for like the movie that they actually made. Tomb Raider is, I think there was like some drama with it. They did a new model for Lara Croft, and then people were arguing if it was, vintage enough or classic enough, or if it didn't look like her at all. So there's constant like drama with the Tomb Raider stuff. I think there was something last year as well, or 2 years ago. I think the new game came out and people didn't like it. Oh yeah, and then it said it's manufactured drama. Yeah, the internet's being bored, everyone. Internet's being bored, but hey, I get to sell something from it. So motion picture music CD right here. So I'm going for $6.35. All right. Next up is going to be Micro Machines. This is going to be one of those launcher things. I sold one before. This one was like damaged. It was more bent right here, and then the Velcro, two of the pieces of the Velcro is on one side, so you have to like kind of remove it and then glue it onto the other side. Easy fix, but I was too lazy to do that. Usually with like broken stuff, I'll just list it as broken, let someone else pay a little bit less and let them do the work so I can list something else and move on. And some people like to do those projects where they fix up like toys and stuff, so that's very cathartic for some people. But yeah, this ended up going for $10.49 for this one. So it's cheaper than the other one that was working. So I got two of those. I think actually my brother gave me those when he gave me a bunch of old toy bits and pieces that he was done with, and he transitioned over from being an everything seller to kind of mostly just like cards and a little bit of books and CDs, like very easy stuff. He has a smaller space, so he just wants to be able to like, you know, easily list something, pack it up in all one smaller room, and then be able to ship it out. So I got a bunch of free stuff from him, so he watches occasionally. Thank you to him. All right, I think that was from him. Next up is going to be a lot of 120 Mythos cards. This is going to be from the Dreamland set right here. This is going to be a dead card game. This is kind of like an interesting one. The art is really cool on these cards. Plus, I've been playing a game recently called Sorcery, where the designers of the game, you have to pitch them, the artists have to pitch them oil paintings in order for their art to get onto the Sorcery cards. And it kind of mimics all these old card games from the mid to late 90s, where they would just have like really good art on the cards, not digital or AI and stuff like that. But this game also has like, you have an investigator character. You've seen me sell the sets of investigators to people. So there's not just combat, there's also like different stats and stuff that you can use to win. And there's like sites and buildings, and I haven't played it, but I read up a bunch on it when I got a huge collection. Got really lucky to get this collection. $76.99. I flopped it over with my dyslexia. All right, next up is going to be Incomplete Dungeons and Dragons basic game right here. Super cool. I listed this one recently. I don't get too many Dungeons and Dragons stuff. People know that this stuff is worth money. Plus, there's a lot of people that actually just are out at auctions bidding on this stuff because they want it for themselves. Like a lot of people like to read up on all this stuff. This is like a hot collectible. This is missing the miniatures, unfortunately, and it was missing the dice, unfortunately, but it still had like the tiles, it still had the character sheets, it still had like the beginning module, like the little intro guide, and then it had the adventure module. But yeah, this ended up going for $19.59. This is going to be 3rd edition for Dungeons and Dragons. All right, next up is going to be a combo order. I forget what the total was, I want to say, because they got a lot of stuff. They got a bunch of these board game sleeves, and there's one company, they got Mayday Games. I happen to know that this particular company was designed to sleeve up board games, so they'll have different sizes here because board games will have different sizes of cards. It's not always just standard size cards, there's a ton of different sizes. And then they would have soft sleeves and then premium. So you can get soft sleeves if you're, you know, sleeving something that's not going to shuffle that much, and you get the premium ones if it's going to be a deck that you shuffle a lot and you need to have the sleeves not break as much. So they got a bunch of different sleeves. They said that they were sleeving up a board game. This brand is not Mayday as well. This is just like, this one was unbranded. I actually don't know what brand this was. So I just measured it out and tested it with cards that I have, because I have a bunch of board games I can test and see what like size they are. So there's a pack of 84. This was a pack of 225. Right there. These are actually slightly smaller. These are standard USA, which is different than standard. Standard USA is slightly smaller than the standard. And then these are like tarot-sized board game sleeves. So they got a bunch of sleeves. They did mention that they were going to sleeve up. I forgot what board game it was. Maybe it was Root? I can't remember at this point. They said in their message in their offer what game they were in. It's hard to dig up messages from offers. If they directly message you, you can pull it up easily, but I always forget like where to find the offer messages. So yeah, I think they paid like about $22-ish for like all these packs of sleeves, which is cool. I always like, you always see me list the sleeves. I know people use them as long as they're either new or still usable. Sometimes people will sleeve up their board game one time, sell it to me, and then like the sleeves are still good. You know, just because they didn't come fresh from a pack doesn't mean that you can't use them. I use sleeves all the time too. All right, next up is going to be Lord of the Rings trading card game by Decipher. This was a bunch of free peoples in the top left corner. There's going to be top left corner, the top right corner. There's going to be a bunch of symbols of like what side is for the free peoples, and the other one's like the evil forces of Sauron. But yeah, there's actually commons, uncommons, and rares in this. This was just like a little pack left. I got like a collection. It was like a long box of the Lord of the Rings cards. and then I was doing all the stuff that made sense to put together, and then this was kind of like the whatever I had left. I just made a lot of 60. Sold for $24 right there. I took a lower offer than normal, but it's okay. Someone's going to appreciate them. All right, moving along. Bob's Burgers, Mad Libs. Mad Libs are those things where you just like, you know, pick a number, pick an adjective, pick a noun, and then you like fill it in, and then you read a little story. And it's supposed to be like goofy and funny. A lot of people like them. I never watched Bob's Burgers, or maybe a couple episodes, but yeah, wasn't like my particular thing. But I know a lot of people like it. This ended up going for $8.09 there. All right, moving along, we have a dwaddle right here. We used to sell these for a lot more. Cancun puzzle. So yeah, we used to find a bunch of these for like a quarter, 50 cents, or $1. This one didn't sell for too well, but I remember when we first started in 2020, we were selling a lot of them for like 10, 15, 20, 25. Puzzles are super popular because people were indoors doing them at the time. This one ended up only going for $6.30. So I don't know if it's something I would pick up now, but those are fun puzzles. I like to do puzzles, and they're pretty good quality. All right. Last up for the day is going to be this Canadian Goose. This is going to be a cross stitch right here. This one was already completed right there, so I hope the person saw my pictures. I like had it outside of the baggie. I am a little nervous that they did not see that this one was already completed, but it's Canadian geese right here. But yeah, people like to do these and like to collect them as well. But yeah, this ended up going for $5. Haven't found this stuff in a while because I think people figured out that a lot of people pay up for this kind of stuff, cross stitch, and then this skeins and stuff as well. All right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good week so far.